Hi, my name is Lee Markham. I sing tenor with the Heralds of Harmony, a barbershop chorus located in Tampa, Florida. And since we're all under quarantine right now, I thought now would be a great time to chat with some of my fellow Heralds, find out how they got involved with barbershop, and why it's great to be a Herald. Enjoy!
What's going on, Mr. Chris Burns?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. How's the quarantine life treating you?
It's good. It's good. I'm locked away in my little hideaway room, so that's good. It's frustrating. It's a very first world thing to have where I'm like, oh, I just want to go to the hardware store because I have all this time to build stuff and I don't have any materials. But I'm like, oh, I
Right.
can't go there yet. So
Are you in your steampunk room right now, or?
I am.
Oh yeah, awesome. So for everyone watching right now, Mr. Chris Burns sings lead with the Heralds of Harmony, and I actually met you several years ago. We were both members of the Westminster Chorus in California. You were there before my time, and so I didn't actually meet you through the chorus. I met you through a mutual friend of ours in the chorus at his wedding. We were both groomsmen at his wedding in California, and that's when we found out we had that connection. And now then you moved to Florida before I moved back. So um, you you were with Westminster for how long?
I got there in 2006. That was right as they were making their run. They had just won district.
Okay.
I was trying to touch base with them, but I got in touch with Sean Devine just after district and joined them for their run for the silver medal, I believe in, is that 2006?
Okay. 2000 maybe seven, I think. So I think
Maybe
they won in
seven.
7 and 10.
Okay.
But had you sung barbershop before that, or was Westminster your first step
Yeah,
in?
actually, I started in 1997. I was
Okay.
working as a character at Disney at the time, and they were having a Dapper Dan's audition. And I thought, that sounds really fun. So I didn't have any information on it. And I had never sung barbershop before. So I just went and I called the actual barbershop, which used to be on Center Street there at Disney. And Roger Ross answered the phone and said, oh man,
Wow.
come on up to the barbershop and hang out and I'll get you some music. And he gave me Wild Irish Rose and Coney Island Baby and said, learn these as your audition pieces and just go in and knock it out of the park. And I was like, okay. And while I was there, he actually suggested that I join what's now called Orlando Harmony. Back then, it was the Winter Park Chorus. I can't even remember what their Sunshine Jubilee was their name. And so he said, go over there and just kind of get some knowledge about barbershop and really kind of learn the style more. And that's when I started joining choruses. And then I
Very
moved out
cool.
to LA. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Then I moved out to LA and I was living in North Hollywood. So the Valiers were right there. And I joined them. They had been in the 80s and 90s a really large chorus and were pretty competitive. At that time, they had kind of shrunk down a little bit. They were still trying to find their way. And the average age was probably 50s, 60s. And the guys looked at me. I was just turning 30, and they said, you need to get out of here. And I was like, wow, that's really mean. And they
Like, but
said,
I like it here.
I was like, well, I thought we were all getting along. And they
Yeah,
said,
just get out
nope,
here.
you got to go. They're like, we love having you, but you got to go. And they said, there's a chorus down south that you need to join called Westminster. Go check them out and go join. And that's what kind of when I found out about them. And I joined them, and then I joined Masters, and it was all game over from that.
Yeah, yeah. So what was it like stepping up from the Valiers to Westminster? How did that change your barbershop knowledge and your world?
It was, I feel like I've been fortunate in the choruses I've sung in, which I think probably nationwide, there are a lot of really great directors out there. And so I've always felt fortunate to be, have that tutelage. But when I stepped into Westminster, I remember when I first got in, I thought, I don't know if I want to be able to do this. These guys are really, really good. They're really functioning at a high level. And I'm like, I just don't know if I can meet that demand. Um, but I was, Pat Claypool, I sang baritone in Westminster, and Pat Claypool was just like, come on, man, let's hang out. And just kind of took me under his wing. And he's like, no, you're doing fine. And I was like, these guys are learning so fast. But once you get into the system, you're like, okay, cool. I see what track we're on now. And it's just a matter of just getting on board.
Yeah, I remember getting into Westminster and being like, God, I don't even know if they'll take me. Hopefully they'll, let me audition and whatever. And then I was with them for a little over a year or so.
Yeah.
Um, and now you are, as I am, a professional actor outside of the barbershop world. How has your world outside of barbershop in theater, acting, film, commercials, how has that helped your barbershop performance?
It's been amazing because I feel like it's we're entering a world as actors, we're entering a world where they're not, I mean, there's a nuts and bolts salesman and there's a guy that works at T-Mobile. And so you're bringing in people from all different walks of life. And I feel like our industry is one that really lends itself. It's the performing art. So I feel like we kind of naturally have a little bit to give. And it started even back when I was in, Winter Park singing, and they were like, hey, we're going to do a tap dance number. And I'm like, let's do it. I'm ready to go. And then transferred over to Westminster. When we did Strike Up the Band, I was actually pegged for the choreography for the step routine, and which ended up costing us like 30 points, which is probably the largest, hit that a chorus has taken for a single, executed move or something.
Meaning that you were in charge of the choreography for that, or?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was actually written in the music. The 30 measures was actually written. It said stomp section, and they were like, "Hey, you have to choreograph a stomp section." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah. Go. I'll do that." So I choreographed it to the number of measures that were left blank, and then when we get to the competition, we got nailed by like 30 points because we had taken up too much time where we weren't singing. And everyone's like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "I just choreographed to the number of blank measures." That's
looking around like, sorry.
I was like, "I don't know the rules. You said choreograph. Yeah. Here's the music." But so I feel like the skills that I have developed as an actor, both as a singer and a dancer and a drummer and all these other things, have lent themselves pretty well to doing that type of thing.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me into my next question. So you joined Heralds. When did you join the Heralds?
I joined after their 6th place win, which would have been in Orlando.
Okay. And
pretty shortly after that.
Now I know, because I've only been in the chorus 6-7 months now, so I know you choreographed Crocodile Rock that we've been working on. And so was that the first choreography you've done for Heralds, or had you done something before?
That was the first that I had done. Tony and I sang in Dapper Dan's for 2 years in California, and then for 2 years also here in Florida. And I've also known Tony since probably around 97. We had met and kind of always kept crossing paths. So we knew of each other pretty well. I knew of his body of work, and he knew the industry that I was in and where I was kind of going and things like that. So it was just one of those things where he reached out and said, "Hey, we got these new songs. Would you mind taking a fresh stab at them and just kind of see what comes out of it?" And I said, "Okay, great. Let's try it and see if, we can kind of build a rapport between me and the chorus where we can kind of strengthen our skills." Because it seems like the choreography aspect of things is something that a lot of people were mentioning that they felt like we could improve on. And it seemed like a good fit. Kind of, I can go in there and maybe help challenge people, and we can see if we can step up our game a little bit for choreography, which I think seems important to some of the guys.
Yeah, and that's one thing Tony does very well, and a lot of directors do well, is they find each member's strengths and, hey, how do I use that? How do I bring that out of them and to benefit the chorus? And
very true.
Well, I hope we have a stomp section coming up, because man, I can't wait for that.
I don't know. We got Basin Street Blues. I'm ready to tap dance again.
That's true. Yeah. And now you sang baritone for a long time, so now you're singing lead. What made that switch?
It's funny because every chorus that I go in, I feel like I don't really know my place. Starting with Winter Park, I was like, I don't know. My voice kind of fits lead baritone-ish. Where do you want me? I said, I'll go wherever you think that I can benefit the chorus. And they said, lead. Great. I went out to California with the Valiers. They said baritone. Okay.
Yeah.
Went with Westminster. They said baritone. Masters. They said baritone. And then I got over here and Tony said, what do you want to sing? And I said, well, where do you need me? And he goes, lead. And that was the end of that conversation.
There you go. Awesome. What does being a herald mean to you? What's it like being in this chorus?
Gosh, that's a great question. It's really hard to find your place. It's really hard to fit into an established group. And initially I was concerned that I wouldn't really know or have a true home or a true place in Heralds, just because I live in Orlando and those guys live in Tampa. So the opportunity to hang out and do a lot of things with the Tampa group is pretty challenging. But the guys were very accepting. And, there's also a herd of us that come down from Orlando to Tampa. So it kind of was nice to go, okay, we have our little clique of people that we bring down to Tampa and then kind of help expand on that family. And then honestly, finding myself useful to the chorus is really what made me feel included. The minute that I was asked to step up and do some choreography, and getting feedback from the guys and having guys say, hey man, you're really helping me with this. I really appreciate that. And it's like, gosh, I mean, I don't ever want to come from a place of ego or arrogance or look what I've done in the past. It's like, none of that matters. I'm just here to hang out and have fun. But if I can be useful to the chorus, that's when I really start to feel like I'm included.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you're definitely one of a handful of guys that come from Orlando, and it's like you got to go where the barbershop is.
Yeah.
When I lived in California and I was with Westminster, I was in the Hollywood area, and Westminster was in the Anaheim area. And with LA traffic, it would take me almost 3 hours just to get there each time. But when you love it so much, like coming from Orlando, it's like, well, that's what we got to do. So
Yeah, I agree.
that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today. I know you're a busy man, and thanks for letting us know what your barbershop background is and what it means to be a Herald.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Bye.